and welcome back to my channel. Bonsoir et bienvenue sur ma chaîne. My name is Muriel, and well, I decided to do another one of these tier list videos. Recall that a few months ago now, I did one ranking all of the SFF universes I had so far read in various books, but then since then I haven't done any more of these, and I had wanted to. And well, this is the exact right time for me to do a few more of these, because as I've stated more or less vaguely throughout a few videos recently, my mental health isn't doing that great, and I will probably be absent for a while in the coming weeks, and so I would like there to be some content for you during my absence. I really hope that by the time these go up, I'll have at least done my review for Dune, but I haven't yet finished Dune. I've had a hard time reading these past few days, and also I apologize if I speak a bit slowly or I get a bit forgetful because I'm taking medication and it's making me just a tad bit foggy. So this tier list video is going to be me ranking a lot of book to screen adaptations I've seen over the years, so either book to movie or book to TV series. And I'm mixing in both speculative fiction and non-speculative fiction, so a selection here. So first I picked Atonement. Yes, I read Atonement by Ian McEwan a fair few years ago now, and actually I saw the movie first and then I read the book. Also, a quick note on how I'm actually going to rank these. I'm both taking into account how faithful the adaptation is to the actual source material, but I'm also taking into account, well, the quality of the movie or TV show itself, how much I enjoyed it, things like that. So in the case of Atonement by Ian McEwan, I first saw the movie, found it very beautiful, very emotional, then I read the book. I realized that, well, the movie is a very, very faithful adaptation to the book. The only major difference, and it's not even that major of a difference, is the ending. So based on both of these factors, I will be putting this in S tier. It is truly a great adaptation, and it is a very good movie as well. Then we have Annihilation. This has bothered me a lot. I've seen a few videos talking about cosmic horror in different forms of media, so video games, novels, movies, etc. Of course, Lovecraft is referenced all of the time in those types of videos. And Annihilation often gets brought up as a great example of cosmic horror done well, and that it is a, I guess, undervalued gem of the genre. And I get the sense that most of the people who say this haven't actually read the original novel by Jeff Vandermeer. And if you've been with me for a while, you'll also know that one of my favorite SFF series of all time is The Southern Reach. And I thought the movie was garbage. Well, not complete garbage though, let's be honest. I do think it was visually stunning. I will give it that, most definitely. There's something of the spirit of Area X present in the movie, but the plot is completely different. The characters are different. The tone and message, if there is a message in The Southern Reach, are different. And it's just not The Southern Reach. The ending is goddamn awful. I won't spoil it for you if you want to see the movie, but it just insults Area X. At the end of that movie, I was like, you do not mess with Area X. Area X messes with you. So I was very angry about that. Massive, massive disappointment. However, like I said, since it was visually stunning and there was something of the spirit of Area X present in the movie, it's not going in D tier, but it's not going above C tier. Such a bloody disappointment. Ugh. Then we have The City in the City, which was a BBC miniseries adapting the novel of the same name by China Miéville, which is my least favorite of all the novels I've read by him as well. Still, I wanted to see the miniseries. And the miniseries was fairly decent, I would say. Relatively faithful to the novel. Again, the ending was modified to just go in a different directions with the character development. But it was alright overall. I think it deserves a respectable place in B tier. Then we have Cloud Atlas, which is a movie adaptation of the novel of the same name by David Mitchell, which I read 2, 3, 4 years ago. It's a very strange novel because the way it's told, you get a chapter from a character and it goes forward in time with a different character, and then it goes forward into the future and then goes back into the past. It's a very strange structure. I've never seen anything quite like it. And it's very simply put about reincarnation, because you kind of get the sense that the characters are reincarnations of one another, and you see their differing life circumstances throughout the ages, including into like a dystopian and then a post-apocalyptic future. Did I first see the movie? No, I first read the book and then I saw the movie. The movie was pretty good, actually. I think I preferred the movie to the book overall. I related to it more strongly, or at least I found it more moving. It touched me on a deeper level than the novel did. So on that basis, it's also going to get a respectable place in B tier. I'll leave it next to The City and the City for now. I might rearrange like different levels later on. Then we have Divergent. I had ranked Divergent, the book trilogy, in my very first tier list video. I said that it was alright for YA dystopians. The movies weren't very good though. The first movie was fairly enjoyable, entertaining, and fairly faithful to the novel. And I'm taking into account like all of the movies, so the trilogy they made. Then it just went downhill very quickly from there, and the third movie was straight up garbage, had almost nothing to do with the source material anymore by that point. And like again, minor spoiler, well, major spoiler, but so be it. I have mentioned that in my tier list that, well, the main character dies at the end of the books. And they didn't even have the guts to do that with the movie adaptation. So I'm like, well, fail. That's a fail for me. So here again, it's going to go in C tier. Like, it's not going into D tier because, like I said, the very first movie was fairly entertaining and faithful to the source material. But otherwise, it's just really not that good. I'm going to put above Annihilation just because of the fact that I adore The Southern Reach and was horribly disappointed by Annihilation as a movie, so I'm going to put it above Annihilation. So since I fairly recently read Dracula by Bram Stoker for the first time, I decided to add one of the Dracula adaptations I have actually seen, and it was John Badham's Dracula, which dates to 1980-something. I can't remember. You can check it out if you want. It was a fairly decent adaptation, actually, overall, thinking back on it, and yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. It was fairly enjoyable and entertaining. I watched it with a friend at the time. So yeah, I'm going to put that in the bottom of B tier for now. It was fun. Had good actors, Laurence Olivier and Frank Langella, so I will say that for it. Then we have a very contentious, no, it's not contentious. Well, it's contentious in the sense that it is the Earthsea adaptation done by Studio Ghibli. Now, I have never seen any other movie by the famed Studio Ghibli. Shame on me, I know, and I hope to rectify that one day. But so I saw their attempt at that adaptation. Daniel Greene did a really good video review of that. If you want to check it out, I'll give a link to that. And he was really horribly disappointed because he'd seen other Studio Ghibli movies and he was like, this is not on the level of Studio Ghibli and it does not pay justice to Ursula K. Le Guin's beautiful piece of literary work. But then I put in the comments, and a lot of other people did as well, that what he doesn't realize is there's an even worse adaptation, if you can even call it that, of Ursula K. Le Guin's Earthsea Cycle, which I'll get to in a minute, which was done by the Sci-Fi Channel. Compared to that, the production by Studio Ghibli is actually a lot better. It's still not great though, but I don't know, when I watched it, I did get a vibe of Earthsea in it, and I did think there was something poetic about it, so based on my memories, I would still put it in B tier. I guess technically it should probably be at the top of C tier, but for the moment, I'm gonna put this bottom of B. Maybe I'll shuffle it around at the end. But so, like I said, there's an even worse adaptation of Ursula K. Le Guin's work, which was done by the Sci-Fi Channel, and that is truly a piece of garbage. Sorry, Sci-Fi Channel, but I'm telling it like it is. It's a travesty of an adaptation. It was just straight up bad. Bad all around. Like, they didn't even bother to have actors of color to reflect the archipelagon's natural skin tones and things like that, and they simplified and mixed so many plot elements from different books. It was garbage. It was absolute garbage. Please, can we get a decent Ursula K. Le Guin adaptation of Earthsea, but then also of her science fiction work? I want an adaptation of The Left Hand of Darkness. I want an adaptation of The Dispossessed. Can someone, for the love of gods, please get on that? Thank you. So yeah, this is going straight into D tier. And then, right after that, we come to Aragon, which is going to be joining The Wizard of Earthsea in D tier, because that is straight up one of the worst adaptations I've seen in my entire life. I've been saying this for years, and I still hold to that. It was horrible. The only good thing about that movie was Saphira, voiced by Rachel Weisz, and Saphira was awesome, and you get to see baby Saphira, which, okay, is just one of the most adorable baby dragons you'll ever see in your life. Though they gave feathers to her wings. Why? It's established in the books that dragons have leathery wings, so like traditional Western dragons. It was a garbage movie, and I mean it had Jeremy Irons in it, so I don't get what happened there. It's a travesty. Again, I think even though it gets a lot of flack for being derivative and blah blah blah, I still think those books, as an entry point into fantasy for younger readers, they deserve a decent adaptation. Do it in a TV series? I don't know, but I want to see Saphira again, but then I want to see the plot fleshed out decently with all the races, the elves, the dwarves, and, you know, the leather blacker, and all those things. So again, please, can someone get on that? And then, yes, HBO's Game of Thrones, a thorn in any great A Song of Ice and Fire fan's side. The only reason I'm not going to put this in D tier is because it started out so magnificently. The first 4 seasons are amazing, are great adaptations, and let's be real here, the vast majority of the acting was amazing. The CGI dragons, I maintain, are the most beautiful and well realized I've ever seen. The music is amazing. There are still pieces from Game of Thrones that I love to play on the piano because they're amazing pieces of music. It started out so wonderful and then died the most agonizing, painful to watch death. I'm still bitter about it. Most A Song of Ice and Fire fans, I think, are still bitter about it if they're being honest with themselves. This could have been one of the greatest adaptations of all time, and well, that just didn't happen, did it? So yeah, this has to go, in C tier. It doesn't go in D tier because of those first 4 seasons, and those are actually the only seasons I have on DVD. Yeah, you know what? Because it started out so strong and just evolved into such a dumpster fire of garbage, I'm putting it at the bottom of C tier. Here we come to the Harry Potter series. So, the Harry Potter series comprises 8 movies, so I think there's a variation in quality between the movies. As an adaptation, I think it's pretty good overall. There are obviously elements missing. Different people will be a bit more annoyed or less annoyed at which details weren't present, obviously. But those movies kind of shaped my childhood alongside the books, and have a special place in the history of cinema as well. I think overall, given the evolution of the actors, the characters, the evolution of the CGI, I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna place these in A tier. I think the Harry Potter series deserves a spot in A tier as a work of adaptational cinema. And speaking of beloved childhood series, so we have His Dark Materials. I'm going to be cheating just a teensy bit here. I haven't yet finished watching season 1 of the BBC adaptation because I got distracted with other things. But I only have 3 episodes left, so I've seen most of it, and I was very, very happy with what I saw, with the acting, with the demons, with the faithfulness, this source material. Hopefully this continues, and they'll do as good of a job, if not better, with seasons 2 and 3 for books 2 and 3. So far, I'm going to put the television series adaptations of His Dark Materials in A tier as well. Above Harry Potter, below Harry Potter, maybe above Harry Potter because I preferred his Dark Materials to Harry Potter as a series of fiction. Then we come to, as you can see next to one another, the movie adaptations of Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. Lolita, as I've stated numerous times, is my favorite work of non-SFF literature. I've seen both adaptations. In my humble opinion, the adaptation directed by Stanley Kubrick isn't very good. It is not a reflection upon Stanley Kubrick as a film director, as an artist. He's very well respected for a reason. I know he's done great movies, and I haven't seen many of them, so I'm not attacking his body of work as a filmmaker. I'm just talking about the adaptation here. And to be fair, I heard that apparently Nabokov wasn't terribly happy about the way Kubrick handled the source material. Or maybe it wasn't even Kubrick, maybe it was the production studios because of the controversial nature of the plot and material. I don't really know what happened there, but it just wasn't a very good adaptation, in my opinion. And so as such, I'll be putting Kubrick's adaptation in C tier. Probably, yeah, I'll put it right there between Divergent and Annihilation. And then we come to Adrian Lyne's adaptation of Lolita, which dates to 1998, I believe. I think it's a great adaptation, with the caveat that perhaps it sexifies Lolita a bit too much, which would then have contributed to Lolita becoming this trope of the sexually provocative very young girl, which is not really a good thing. So that goes back to the male gaze and men's monopoly on storytelling and cinema and literature, etc., etc. But we're not going to get into that here. In any case, I loved that movie. I found it very moving because the story of Lolita is moving in the sense that it's very tragic and sad and horrible in a way, but also beautiful, or at least because it beautifies that horribleness. Refer to my reviews if you wish to do so. So to me, this is going to go in S tier. But again, with this caveat that I do acknowledge that the way it portrays Lolita is perhaps not the most appropriate or tone-sensitive to the reality of, well, sexual abuse of minors and things like that. I acknowledge that it's there, but I still love that movie. Maybe not for the entirely right reasons, especially when I first saw it. But so be it, it's staying there for now. Then we come to the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which, let's be honest, are some of the greatest movies of all time, alright? I am aware that some Tolkien ultra purists don't like the movies. I do get the sense that most of the fandom love these movies, even though they are not perfect adaptations. But remember, I'm not just taking pure faithfulness to the source material into account here. I'm also taking the movies or TV shows themselves on their own merits as works of, broadly speaking, cinema. But they're amazing movies. The music, the cinematography, the acting, the storytelling, the feels they take out of you, the tears they bring out of me every time I see them and finish the whole trilogy. And of course, I have the extended special editions. Those movies are an experience. And like I said, I actually preferred the movies to the novel. So to me, this is obviously going to go at the top of S tier. I do think there's a consensus among the fandom that they are amazing movies. They might not be perfect adaptations, but they respect the spirit of Tolkien's work, of his characters, of his themes, of his world building as well, especially with those extended editions that actually do reference things like the Silmarillion, which I loved. So yeah, obviously that's where it's going to go. So then I added The Maze Runner because I've also seen first two movies they made. In my SFF Universe ranking video, I didn't put The Maze Runner very high because I found the ending disappointing and I didn't think it went terribly deeply with its themes and plot development, etc. So with regards to the movies, I can't really evaluate the trilogy as a whole. I do remember enjoying the first movie. I saw the first movie before reading the books. It was decent, but again, nothing that extraordinary either. It's basically on the same general level as Divergent, and as such, I'm going to put it squarely in C tier. I guess just based on the first movie, maybe I'll put it above Divergent. Then we have the mini-series adaptation of The Mists of Avalon. So The Mists of Avalon, again, is one of my all-time favorite novels. It has a very special, dear place in my heart. It only has that mini-series adaptation. To be fair, if someone were to readapt it, it'd probably be better to do it as a TV series than a movie, because she a chunky gal having a length of just a little over 1,000 pages, and it was a good adaptation given the limitations of a mini-series. I'll put it that way. In fact, I saw that mini-series fairly young before I read the novel. Then the novel blew me out of the water, obviously. But I remember seeing that mini-series and it struck a chord in me. I found the ending so ridiculously beautiful and moving. It just really marked me for life. And then the novel branded me for life, basically. Just for that, this is going squarely into B tier, and I'll put it at the top of B tier for now. There are lots of characters missing, and you can't really cover the vastness of the novel in that miniseries, but it's very special. Then we have Never Let Me Go, based on the novel by Kazuo Ishiguro, which I also read a few years ago. So that's a novel of dystopian fiction where basically some humans are raised to provide, well, spare body parts for people so they can live longer. And it tells the story of 3 young people who come from one of these, I mean, it's not a farm, it's not like an orphanage, but so a place where they were created for that purpose. But some of them can then become carers for some of the brethren, and they can get to live a bit longer and take care of their friends who have to progressively give more and more of their organs. It's very creepy and disturbing, but it doesn't really focus on like government oppression or anything like that. It's just part of society, and so it focuses on the characters and their relationships, especially 3 characters. It was a very good movie, it was a very good book, very, very moving, and the acting in the movie was very good. You have Carey Mulligan, Keira Knightley, and then I cannot remember the main male actor's name, unfortunately, but he's also relatively well known. So yeah, it was very moving, a good story, and a good adaptation overall. So to me, this is a solid B tier as well. I'll put it at the top of B tier for now. We have the TV series adaptation of The Mortal Instruments by Cassandra Clare. It's not a very good adaptation, I'll say that right off the bat. It was fun, I guess. I've watched all of it, and it does technically cover all of the books, though like past book 3 or 4, the adaptation itself kind of falls apart. It's doing its own thing. I loved the interpretation of Magnus Bane, who is a very colourful character in the books and so in the TV series. It's a good romp of urban fantasy, I'll say that. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'll put this at the top of C tier, but it's not bad. Like I said, it was entertaining. It was alright. So then we have the Chronicles of Narnia, or I mean, at least specifically The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, because I mean, they haven't adapted all of the books, I don't think. I've seen The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, I've seen Prince Caspian, I've seen Voyage of the Dawn Treader. I think those are all movies they made, right? I actually also saw, oh my god, the BBC did an adaptation, but like in the 70s or something. It was alright. But so, as a movie, I thought, again, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe was alright. It was entertaining, good music, decent special effects. Not a Narnia fan by any means. I don't care that much about it. So, I don't know, again, maybe, I guess I'll put this at the top of C tier? Yeah, let's go with that. Top of C tier for now. Then we have the Da Vinci Code. So I have read the Da Vinci Code, I've read Angels and Demons, I've read The Last Symbol, which I really did not like. I did enjoy the Da Vinci Code for what it's worth. That whole like esoteric thriller motif I found interesting, and all the bits about like art and architecture and culture, I do think those were interesting elements. And I liked the movie. I thought the movie was pretty good, fairly faithful to the novel as well, with a good score by Hans Zimmer. On that basis, I'm going to put this at the bottom of A tier. And so then we have the Golden Compass movie adaptation that I feel a lot of people thought was really bad, but I didn't think it was that bad. I thought it was actually pretty decent overall, so it had very good actors in it. Some of like the little world building elements I felt they were kind of ripping off of stuff like Harry Potter, but I don't know, I really didn't think it was that bad. It was pretty decent as an adaptation and as a movie. So as such, I do think it deserves a spot in a B tier. Perhaps, I don't know, I'll put it between The Mists of Avalon and The City in the City. And we have the Handmaid's Tale TV series produced by Hulu. It's excellent, right? The first season especially is a near flawless adaptation of, well, the novel by Margaret Atwood. And again, the novel is one of my all-time favorites. Definitely my favorite dystopian, that's for sure. Season 2 is very good as well. Season 3, and I think a lot of people thought this lacked a bit. It was very slow in a big chunk of it. Then it started taking its pace back up a wee bit, like towards the end. Who knows what they're going to do with season 4, given that The Testament has been out. Of course, as I understand it, the release of season 4 has been delayed because of COVID, so I have no idea what they're going to do next. I feel like they're stretching Offred's life a bit too unrealistically. The amount of stuff she's been doing in the TV series, in my opinion, means she should have been dead by now. Like, the regime would have taken her out somehow. There are problems cropping up in the TV series, but given the first season is, like I said, a near flawless adaptation as far as I'm concerned, but also taking into account the way it has perhaps gone downhill a bit with seasons 2 and most especially seasons 3, I'm going to confidently place this at the top of A tier. I guess it kind of sits equally with his art materials. And coming to the Hobbit movies, which have also, I think, largely consensually been slightly disavowed by the Tolkien fandom. Those movies are clearly not on the same level as the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We're all agreed on that. I found them fun, I guess. They were reasonably entertaining. As movies, I don't know, they tried, and I don't really know who I mean by they, maybe the production studios, tried to apply the Lord of the Rings template onto The Hobbit. Problem is, The Hobbit is a very different book from The Lord of the Rings. For one thing, it's a children's book. It's a different kind of story. There's a lot more lightheartedness to it. There's songs and a lot of playfulness and cheekiness, like, for example, with the mountain trolls, or is that what they were, mountain trolls? The Rio who gets, like, turned to stone when the sun comes up. And it's one book, and it's about, 300 pages, and they made a bloody trilogy out of it, so they fleshed out the Battle of the Five Armies, and then they threw in that romance between a female elf and a dwarf, and it was just, no, this does not work. I will say this, to me, the strongest entry in the trilogy is the second one, because it features the magnificent exchange between Smaug and Bilbo, and it works so brilliantly because it's Benedict Cumberbatch with Martin Freeman, and you've got that same playful dynamic between them in the TV series Sherlock. That was brilliant. I love that, and Smaug was beautifully rendered in CGI, etc. But yeah, there are major issues with this trilogy. It does not have the same rewatchability value as does The Lord of the Rings. I mean, not by a long shot. I mean, I don't think it's garbage, but it's not going to go above B tier for me, and probably lower B. I guess I'll put this just below Cloud Atlas. Then we come to the Hunger Games trilogy. I will say this, I do think the books are fairly good. I gave them a high ranking in my SFF Universe tier list video. I think I put them in A tier. Excellent YA dystopian series, not without its flaws, obviously. And I think the movies are brilliant. The movies might perhaps even be a bit better than the books. They're very faithful to the source material. The ending is exactly the same as that in the books, actually. They're great movies and great adaptations. To me, this is also an obvious S tier. So I guess since it's FSFF, I would put it above Atonement. I mean, I say this, but Elite is based on one of my favorite novels of all time. But like I said, there's some squicky tone issues with it, so no, I'm going to keep S tier as it is for now. Then we have, so they actually made a movie adaptation of the first book in the Mortal Instruments hexalogy, so City of Bones, is it? Yes, City of Bones. It was alright too, I think. It wasn't a bad movie. There were a couple of good actors in it. I found it grittier than the TV series called Shadowhunters. I preferred the tone of the movie actually to the overall cheekier tone of Shadowhunters. It could have gone places, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's too bad they never continued with movie adaptations. Again, I'm going to put this, I guess I'm going to put it slightly above the TV series version because it was more faithful to the source material and I preferred the tone. So this is going to go in B tier as well. We have a fairly crowded B tier, as you can see. I guess I'm going to put this maybe beneath Cloud Atlas, or I mean, maybe I'll put the city and the city between Cloud Atlas and City of Bones. I don't know, whatever. It works. Then, some of you might not know this, but a movie adaptation was actually made of The Handmaid's Tale. Again, like in the early 90s, maybe. It's not very good, I can tell you that. Like, it's better than nothing. I guess at the time there was no other adaptation, but can you just, like, see this? The costuming is bad. It's so bad compared to the one you have in the TV series. Like, where are the white wings? Like the nun-like wings? What is that? What is that headscarf thing? No, it was a bad adaptation. Not complete and utter garbage, but just not good. That just going straight into C tier, and I guess, yeah, it's on the same level of just not a good adaptation of an excellent novel, or one of my favorite novels as Stanley Kubrick's Lolita. Maybe I'll put it underneath Stanley Kubrick's Lolita, just to pay respect to Kubrick as a filmmaker. And then finally, we have Twilight, which I don't have that much respect for as a work of literature, which I also mentioned in my very first tier list video. I will say this though, I'm going to judge only the first movie. I didn't see all of them. I saw up to like the third one, I think. The first movie wasn't about adaptation. It wasn't entirely accurate and faithful adaptation either, but I did think there was the spirit, as I call it, of the novel, and at the time I kind of enjoyed the novels. So again, like, I don't know, I'm going to put this, it's not complete garbage, but I didn't care much for it. I guess, again, I'll put it above Annihilation and Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, I mean, if it were just the first 4 seasons, it would be ranked so much higher. Annihilation had so much potential, but I just, no. The only reason they're not in D tier is because of the slightly redeeming elements, but it makes me sad that they're ranked so low, unfortunately. And I realized that my original draft for this video, I had intended to add the Millennium Trilogy, or at least The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo by David Fincher, and Madame Bovary as well. I don't know why I forgot them, and I'm not going to bother adding them. I'll just give you the rating I would give them. I really enjoyed, actually, David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It recaptured the tone of the novel absolutely brilliantly. It's a great trilogy of books, in my opinion. I haven't really talked about them because I don't really talk about thrillers, and I don't read much thrillers, but I have read that trilogy, and I do think it is excellent. And I did find David Fincher's adaptation of the first novel excellent, gritty, excellent acting. So that to me would probably go in A tier. I've never seen the Swedish adaptation, so I can't comment on those. And then when it came to Madame Bovary, I do like period dramas, and I have read the original French novel. I had to read it for school, in fact, in high school. And that was also a fairly good period drama and a fairly good adaptation, though that I would probably place like middle to middle bottom of B tier. So there you have it. I'm always eager to learn about new adaptations of works of literature I enjoyed or even adored. We're all waiting for the Dune movie adaptation, but that's not going to be before 2021. I hope it will be S tier worthy. I really crossing my fingers there. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with that Tolkien vs. Second Age TV adaptation. Still very confused about what that's going to be exactly. I know they're making an adaptation of The Wheel of Time, but I haven't read those books. I had said a while ago in a video that I was not interested in reading them, but maybe I'll give them a try someday. I believe there's an adaptation of the Broken Earth trilogy in the works, maybe. I did actually know I mentioned the Earthsea cycle. I do think they are working on an adaptation of them. And Ursula Le Guin had given her green light shortly before she passed away. So please make something good out of that. So yeah, we'll see. I might revisit this type of tier list in the future, hopefully with additional SFF adaptations. But that's it for now with this list from me. I'll be doing a couple of others, and like I said, I hope I'll have my Dune review out before I take my leave of absence, but at least you can watch these types of videos if you're interested. So on that note, I hope you will have a lovely day, evening, or whichever, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye!